Alright, boys and girls, today we're going to go ahead and look at switch statements in C#. Now, for right here, you could see that in the design view, I have a window called grader, and it says please enter a numeric grade from 1 to 10. And when I put a numeric grade from 1 to 10 in the box and click convert, it should give me your grade. So let's go ahead and look at the code behind this. You notice that when I click on the grade button, that's this method right here, I declared an integer called points, and points gets what you put in the text box. When I use the int.parse, because it comes in as a string and I have to convert it to an int to assign it to an int. So if I hit in the number 4, it comes in as a string, it converts it to an int and assigns it to points. This is the switch statement right here. It begins with the keyword switch and open bracket, close bracket, and this is the body. At the top in the parentheses, this is the object you want to switch on, and you could actually use an int, a double, a float, a char, or even more popular, a string. Today we're actually just going to do an int. So the int that we're going to switch on is points, meaning whatever the value of points is, it'll pick the appropriate case for it. Now, the case syntax is this is the first case followed by whatever the argument would be. So we're using integers here, so we must use integers for the case. Otherwise, if we use strings, it would never be able to compare it to the integer up here. So these are integers, case 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5. And I have a default case. This is the syntax, the case followed by what you're looking for, followed by a semicolon. And if this is true, just like an if statement, if this is true, if points equals 10, then it'll do the following line of code. The grade label, which was the label in the bottom of our design, the text of it would get the letter A. And then it would break out of this case and break out of the switch and move on with its life. A break statement is required for all of the cases in C#. The only exception to that is a goto case. Alright? So let's first look at default. If you ran out of cases that you want to do, or you don't want to do any more cases, you could have a default case, which is just typed in default followed by a semicolon, meaning that if it doesn't meet any of this criteria up here, it'll go to this default case. This is what it be used. It is good practice to always use a default in a switch. However, you can take that out and it will not give you an error. So you can have a switch without a default. However, it is good practice to always put a default in, just in case you did not think of all the scenarios that was involved. Now let's look at this goto. It's a word that sometimes scares people because of how languages used it in the past. But if you have a goto, it takes the place of a break, and it could go to another case, as opposed to other languages when you eliminate the break and it falls through. This one allows you to just pick cases you may want to go to. And in the default right here, anything that's 5 or below, you're going to get an F. So I didn't want to make several cases for it, so what I did was in the default, if I entered 4 or 3 or 2 or 1, the default case will say go to case 5. Case 5 is up here, and then it will just print the letter F, so I don't have to keep on repeating myself all the way through. This is actually pretty useful for you, so you can eliminate lines of code. and also eliminate errors in case you make any all the way through. So it's used by this keyword called go-to, and then you label where you want to go to, which is case 5, pretty simple, and then anything from 4 or below will go all the way to case 5. Alright, pretty simple. Let's try it out. Let's go ahead and enter, let's say 9, and hit convert, and you see that it gives you the grade A. Now let's try that 5 statement for the F. We see that it works. 7, it works. Now let's try that go-to that we put in there. Let's put 2, and it works. So this was a brief tutorial on how to use switch statements. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.